Hi there. Buddy, Chapter 11. Grandpa T says I can use the mower. Mama says it's all right with her so long as I don't get too far. Daddy says it's fine, but I have to pay him some for the gas. Tanya says I can use her markers to make my signs. The next day I sit down at the table and start making signs. Tanya wants to help, but she still makes some of her letters backwards so nobody can read anything she writes. Jamila would have been a big help, but there ain't nothing I can do about that. So, all by myself, I make up a whole pile of signs that say I'll mow a lawn for $5. I put our phone number on them. Then I start walking the streets looking for houses to leave them at. Most of the people I know, I always knock on the door if nobody answers, I just leave it in the mailbox. Sometimes somebody comes through the door. At J-Boy's house, his mama comes to the door in her nightgown. I give her the note and she looks at it and says, "Ain't you J-Boy's friend?" And I say, "Yes." And she says, "Do I know where he is?" And I say, "No." Then she shuts the door. By the time I get home, 2 people have already called, and all of a sudden, I'm in business. "What are you going to call your company?" Grandpa T says. "Lil T's Lawn Mowing Service," I say. Grandpa T nods. "Got a ring to it," he says. The very next day, I take the lawnmower out and tell Buddy goodbye and head off down the street. I mow 3 different lawns. I got 3 $5 bills sitting in my pocket, and every single one of those people said for me to come back next week. I'm rolling my lawnmower back to the house, and I'm thinking maybe somebody else has called while I was gone, when I look up and I see J-Boy walking up the sidewalk. We ain't talked since school let out. "Sup," he says. He don't smile or nothing. "Not much," I say. "So you mowing those lawns?" he says. I nod. The sweat's rolling into my eyes and I wipe it out. "That's hard work for slow money," he says. "Money's money," I say, and look down at the lawnmower. It's got new grass all stuck on the sides. The rubber gripping part under my hands is starting to work loose. J-Boy takes one finger and rubs it under his nose. I can't help it. I see he's starting a mustache. "So where is that dog?" he says. "He's in the back. You want to see him?" We stand there another second. J-Boy's looking off down the street. He hikes up his pants a little. "You don't have to if you don't want to," I say. "I'll come." He follows me through the gate while I'm pushing the lawnmower to the back. We turn the corner around the house, and there's Buddy, standing in the door of the shed, his tail whacking back and forth. "Hey, Buddy," I say, and drop on my knees in front of him. "You miss me? You miss me, boy?" I'm rubbing his head. He's licking my face. His whole body's shaking, he's so glad to see me. "This is J-Boy," I say to Buddy, "from down the street." J-Boy's hanging back. His hands are shoved into his pockets. Buddy's looking up at him and grinning. "He likes you," I tell J-Boy. "You can pet him if you want to." J-Boy don't move. He's just looking at Buddy with his eyes squinched up. "It's okay," I say. "He don't bite." "Did he get in a fight?" J-Boy says. I rub my finger across Buddy's scar. "I guess," I say. "That was there when we found him." Buddy takes one limping step toward J-Boy, and J-Boy steps back. "What happened to his leg?" "When we hit him with the car, it broke so bad they had to cut it off." Buddy's tail is whacking against the door frame, so I move over a little bit. Buddy limps along with me, and now his tail's free to swing wide. "He can't hardly walk," J-Boy says. He's walking fine, I say. He just don't go far. You sold your Game Boy so you could get that piece of dog? I turned around and there's J-Boy with his lip all curled up. If I get me a dog, he says, I'll get me a whole dog. I'm just staring at J-Boy. I always knew you were a fool, he said. Now everybody else knows it too. Turns around and walks back around the house to his front yard. I hear the gate squeal and bang when he slams it open. I sit down. I'm smelling the cut-up grass stuck on the lawnmower and the gas fumes leaking out. I'm feeling the little rocks under my butt and the wood behind my back where I'm leaning against the shed. Then Buddy sticks his cold nose in my ear. He licks my face. He's whining just a little bit. He limps one step closer and lays down with his head in my lap. My hand goes to his head. I smooth back his fur, and he looks at me with his caterpillar eyebrow cocked to one side. He's waiting for me to talk, but I can't think of nothing to say. And that's the end of Chapter 11. Chapter 12. J-Boy's the fool, of course. Mom and Daddy have been saying it all along, and it's for truth. As it turns out, I've got one call waiting when I get inside, and the very next day, when I roll out the lawnmower, Buddy comes limping along with me. He's doing his three-legged walk down the sidewalk, and some little kid snickers, and I say, "You laugh at my dog, and I'll bust your head." That little kid's eyes get all big, and he runs inside. Buddy lifts up his tail and watches him run, and I think, there goes that mowing job. While I mow the lawn, Buddy lays down on the sidewalk. He puts his nose on his front feet, and he watches me going back and forth, back and forth. When people walk down the street, they're cussing at him for laying in the sidewalk. I say, what do you expect? He's only got 3 legs. Buddy lifts up his head and watches them walk on, and I tell him, just you lay back down, Buddy. It's okay. You stay right where you are. When we get home, I fill up his water bowl, and I rub his ears, and we sit in the shed by the lawnmower, and we talk. If you had 4 legs, I say to Buddy, we might walk down to the river. Mama says I can't go that far, but if you went with me, she'd have to let me go. Buddy's tail goes thump, thump, like he's saying he wishes he could help me. We could really throw the ball there, and we'd watch those barges make the turn. Jamila and me saw that once when we were at the aquarium. Those barges coming down the river go under the bridge so fast you think they're going to whack right into it, but they don't. After they pass under the bridge, they've got to swing way wide to one side to get around the bend in the river, and you're just hoping they don't smash into the bank. And they don't. And then you look and you see the other barges coming up the river, and you think now, for sure they're going to crash into each other. And you cross your fingers and close your eyes, and when you open them up again, there go the barges, sailing past each other like nothing ever happened. And after that, you look up and down the river, and you can't hardly believe it, because here comes a whole bunch more barges, doing it over and over again. When I stop talking, Buddy thumps his tail like he wants me to go on. Where do you think those barges are coming from, Buddy? What do you think they got in them? What do you think it would be like to ride on one of them? Jamila said she's going to do that one day. Start maybe all the way at the top of the river and ride all the way down, all the way out to the ocean. Where do you think that river starts, Buddy? I know it ain't Chicago, but it can't be too far from there. And what do you think the ocean looks like, Buddy? I seen pictures and I seen movies, but I ain't never seen the real thing. Do you think it's scary, Buddy? All that water moving all the time. And what about mountains? What about hills? We ain't even got hills in New Orleans. We got swamps, and we got alligators, and we got roaches. But we ain't got hills. But he ain't moving. He's asleep. Do you think I ought to stay in New Orleans when I get grown? Do you think Mama would let me go off? What if I go where it gets cold sometimes and... Buddy jumps and wakes himself up. It's okay, I say. You're coming with me. He settles his head back on my lap. But we can't go now, Buddy. I got all those lawns to mow, and at the end of the summer, there's school all over again. I heave a sigh, and Buddy does too. But guess what Daddy says, I go on. He says if I've got enough money come August, he'll take me to the store and we'll get a bicycle. Buddy looks up at me and I say, you think I ought to get a red one? His tail goes thump, thump, and I say, okay, red it is. One day Mama sends me down the street for a gallon of milk. She gives me a $5 bill and says, hurry, so I don't take Buddy. I hear baby Terrell squalling in the kitchen, and I figure Mama's about to lose her mind. So I run all the way to the store. I grab the milk out of the cooler and slap that $5 bill on the counter, and then I hear Brother James's voice behind me. Is that little T? He says. I turn around real polite. Yes, sir. You still got that three-legged dog? He's named Buddy. Brother James nods and smiles. That's a good name for a dog. You want this money or not? Says the lady behind the counter. Better take that change, Brother James says. Can't go wasting money. I stuff the change in my pocket, and Brother James says, is it true what I hear about you mowing lawns? I nod. You think you can mow the church lawn? We got some high grass right about now. We got some high grass right about now. I'm thinking fast. The church is a long way to push my lawnmower, I say. Brother James falls out laughing. We got a lawnmower, he says. We just don't have anybody to push it. Come on over on Saturday evening. That way it'll look nice for Sunday. I pick up the milk, but I don't go. How much I get paid? I ask. Paid? Brother James says. I nod. This is the church, boy. I'm feeding Buddy now, I say, and I'm saving for a bicycle. $5, Brother James says, and that better be one fine bicycle. And that's the end of chapter 12. May the Lord bless and keep you. May he make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace, and give you peace. Until next time, God bless.